Gun Guitars Luthier video series. This next one is going to be covering making a little jig here that will be used for drilling the bridge pin locations. Drilling bridge pins is a bit of a pain in the butt, especially if you're going to do it every single time to every single bridge and do it by measuring and doing it by hoping the drill goes straight. The problem with a drill is it's a very lazy tool, so if you don't get a really good indentation in there and the drill decides to walk one way or another, you're going to have a really nice bridge that you just spent a whole bunch of time carving and polishing and making right, and well, the holes aren't going to be right. So obviously that's not going to be a very good bridge. So this is the one that I've got. It's made out of Purple Heart. It's obviously 6 holes across, and they're in a very nice straight line. And the reason they're in a very nice straight line is because I drilled them once, drilled them right, and now when I take this and I put it on top of a bridge, the way that I want to drill the holes in there, I can clamp it down, drill right through, and I've got a nice set of straight holes in the bridge every single time. So the way that you do this is you take a piece of scrap, this piece of scrap probably about a 1/4 inch thick, and just big enough, or a little bit bigger rather, than the string spread, which is either between 2 1/8 and 2 1/4, so that way you have a little bit of extra on the sides to clamp it down. So what I do in this case, and this is just a piece of scrap for demonstrations purposes, but I mean this would probably work if it's a little bit long. But I come along with my ruler and I mark a nice straight line that I'm going to be using to plot my points on. And you don't want it to be a thick line, you actually want it to be a very thin line. So that way there's not a lot of play in there. You don't have to guess where the center of the line is, you just put it right down in on the line. The other thing that comes in handy is a dial caliper, especially one that has a set of jaws for the inside of something because they're nice and pointy. What I do is I set this to my string spacing, which for this case I'm going to do 450 thousandths. I go ahead and lock it, get it on here, and let me get my hand out of the way here for you. A little hard to see, but get it on here, put both of the points on the line, and sink it in. Sink it in a little bit just to make a couple marks. Then I move it over, insert the point into the second dot that I made, and sink it in as well, and keep repeating the exact same thing until you've got 6 holes, or 6 little nicks that are right on the line. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we got 6 little dots on here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it might be a little hard to tell on there, but I think you can see them there. You got all 6 dots and they're nice and spaced very evenly because we measured them with the dial caliper. The next thing to do is come along with a little punch there. This one's pretty pointy. I want to come along and go inside of each one of those holes and open that hole up just a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit, keeping it on the line the entire time. That's the whole point of this thing, is that it's going to be nice and straight, it's going to be drilled perfectly, so that way anything else we drill through it is also going to be drilled perfectly. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little dots on there, and I think you can see them just a little bit better. So here's the important part. As far as how big you're going to drill these things, for most bridge pins you want to drill a 3/16 inch hole. Drill the 3/16 inch hole right through here. Now this is a regular old round pointed bit here. I recommend getting a brad pointed bit just because it has a nice tiny little point right on the tip here that fits perfectly into these little holes that we dented in there, and we know that that drill is going to go through straight every time. So what I'm going to do really quickly, because I don't have one of those drill bits, I'm going to take it over to the drill press and I'm going to run it through here so that we can get 6 nice even holes on here. Like I said, I took this over in the earlier segment and I drilled out of the maple. I drilled a new guard out of that. For this final section I'm going to use the one that I've made already. I've already drilled my holes through here, and again this is a little bit smaller than the maple. The maple bends a little bit, so clamping might be an issue, so I'm definitely going to use this one here. But I made a quickie little bridge out of mahogany, and I'm going to show you how to use this. After you have your saddle location and everything marked out, you don't want to mark out the location for the bridge pins. So I'm just going to put a nice little line on here, because again this isn't a real bridge, this is just a mock-up for the video. So I've got a line on the back of my bridge for where I want those bridge pins to be. And what I'm going to do is come along with my guide here and center it over those markings. Another thing that's useful that you can do is plot out the width on here already, so that way there's a couple of nicks on the end, like here and here, where those outside two strings are going to be, and that's going to be determined by your string spread. So if you put those on there first along with your line, it's easy to come back and find those marks with your piece, and you'll be able to get them all clamped down and get it all set up in the right location. Now you take a couple of clamps, once you have it lined up nice, take a couple of clamps, bring it over to the desk, and clamp it down. Then it's just a matter of taking a drill, and you can do this on the drill press as well, but then it's just a matter of taking a hand drill and coming through each one of those holes with a 3/16 inch bit, because that's going to match the hole that you've got on this template too, and you'll have a nice set of evenly spaced bridge pin holes. And with the hand drill, again, just because this bridge doesn't really count, I would recommend using a drill press though, just to make sure that everything stays nice and straight. Now that that's drilled, take everything apart and see how we did. And we got a nice straight set of holes on our bridge. Evenly spaced, perfectly done every single time. And the reason for that is this one template, we took the time to make it right, 100% right, very accurate, so anything that's drilled from this is always going to be accurate as well. Just takes a lot of the guessing out of it, takes a lot of the measuring out of it. You don't have to lay out every single one of these every single time. It's a really big time saver.